Yeah. If I could, I'll take you back a couple steps in my journey, even before the franchise years, just kind of quickly. But, um, I really started my business when I was a young kid cleaning windows in town. And I found my way into that because my father did cleaning and commercial cleaning. That's how he supported the family. So I kind of started there. And then as I got older, because I started at 13 doing that. So I had regular customers at the age of 13, 14, 15. And in Pennsylvania, you can get your driver's license at 16. So it wasn't until then that I could really even, consider cutting grass or going out, pulling a truck and pulling a trailer with some mowers on it. So that's how I ended up in the grass business. Is I went from window cleaning. My grandfather had on my mother's side had like a very small commercial landscape business in New Jersey, and the neighboring state right to where I grew up, and started cutting grass. And I kind of built that up to a nice little size business, maybe 2 or 3 trucks. And we're talking, I'm 20 years old. So that's decent for 20 years old. Right. And when I got married to my wife, Veronica, who this year we will celebrate 22 years married. That was 99. We got married. I actually was thinking to become a pro firefighter. But after we got married and after 9/11 happened, my wife was not at all interested in me becoming a professional firefighter. At the time, I was eyeing up Jersey City as a fire department, where I really had a good chance of getting in. But I kind of backed out of that and just decided, you know what, let me pursue just a landscape maintenance path. It's what I knew. I was paying the bills, but I wanted to take it to another level. So at that time is when I got into US Lawns, and I was the first franchisee in the state of New Jersey. I decided to open my franchise where the market was more dense, because as I said, I'm a country boy from Pennsylvania. And when I say country, I mean dirt roads, 30-minute ride to school on the school bus. So there was no market where I was from or where I lived. So ended up opening up the first franchise in New Jersey. I was in 2001, and started to scale and build my business. To answer your question more directly, the transition from being a franchisee to a corporate model, which is what we're building now. When I was 22, I became a franchisee at US Lawns, and the then president and still president, Ken Hutchison, he kind of took me under his wing, and some of the facilitation team took me under their wing, and they helped me. They helped me in the early years of growing a small business. I think maybe within the first 2 years, I was up over $1 million in sales. I mean, I moved pretty quick for a new franchisee. And it was great. In those years, it was great. Valley Crest still owned US Lawns directly at that time. Bert Sperber was still alive at that time. It had a family feel to it. It was a good place for me to be at such a young age. But things changed over time. I quickly outgrew what their model was. I could improve it, but I knew in my mind I could do more, and I was capable of building a more corporate level business. But Joaquin's interrupting us. I don't know if you can hear him.
You can. That's okay though. These are the things that make podcasts interesting.
Yeah, that's okay. So I knew I could really do more, and then things started changing. Right, things started changing with the culture and the business. Valley Crest brought in MSD Capital. Right there comes a private equity. So I got to taste that at an early age. And even though that was on the Valley Crest side, absolutely the culture started changing in US Lawns. Some of the focuses, some of the drive. And I just thought at a certain point, well, it's probably best if I exit. So, and the goals were pretty simple. Just take my business or build a business at another level. And so I exited in 2014, sold, my interests off, and I had actually wait 2 years of non-compete before I could really, bring ECF, bring the monster alive. So it was quite a process and quite a you know, quite an interesting history there and experience that I gained over those years.
I bet that 2 years made you pretty hungry though, that 2 years of non-compete had to have you just chomping, waiting, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, so that's kind of
period,
yeah, that's it's a great point. In 2015, I did launch ECF, but I couldn't perform landscape or snow services in the markets where, frankly, I had a lot of contacts and I had a history, or even where I lived, right? So I couldn't really, launch the way I needed to or wanted to. So I focused on some of the other ancillary services we performed, and spent time building our infrastructure and getting it ready for really full launch. And in January 2017, that's when we kind of pulled the chain and just started going to town. And within a year, kind of people knew, or at least started hearing about this new East Coast Facilities Inc.